Hello guys, this is another tutorial. Today we're going to be learning how to make an organization chart. You may be asking yourselves why we're doing that. Well, there aren't that many tutorials online, and another reason was that I was asked to do an organization chart for the company I work, and I looked into it and I looked at all sorts of alternatives, including Microsoft PowerPoint I'm pretty sure you all know what it is and the fact that it can do organization charts. But just look at this. I mean, it looks really dull, simple, rather lame actually. I also looked into different types of software available online. They are, needless to say, very expensive. And since I have Corel Draw X6, like many of you, well, I've decided to do it using Corel Draw. So that's what this tutorial is going to be about today. How to make an organization chart using Corel Draw. Now I want you to compare this flimsy image with this one. I guess you will all agree that this is much more professional looking. It's an organization chart done using a color coding system, and it also includes images. Now, if you may recognize some of these images. These are indeed 80s pop icons, and some of you may be familiar with them. Some others, well, you won't. And I've also included a logo here. Now, if you want to know how I did this logo, well, if you subscribe, you should be able to see some of my other videos, and one of them will teach you how to do this one. Okay, so back to the lesson at hand. Like I said, we've got an organization chart with images, and the one here on the top is the king of pop himself, Mr. Michael Jackson. And if familiar with organization charts, as you go down, well, the less responsibilities the employees have, and bottom line, let's face it, you got the bottom line here, guys, are just slaves. So anyway, the first thing you need to do before you actually do any design is make sure that on the piece of paper you have everything, all the names of the employees that are going to be in the chart well spelt, and also their positions. Obviously, you also need to know where they go. So, and you also need to get an idea of what type of template you will be using for each of the nameplates. And I've got an idea of some here. Okay, this is a very, very basic and dull one, but here are some others. Again, as you see, I like using colors. It may be more appealing to the person who's reading, and also easier for them to understand that they're sort of in the same line of position. Let me show you how to do this one. This is very, very straightforward. I'm going to duplicate this one a minute. So ungroup this, and I'm going to replace that square for a circle. So pretty much like that. I'm pressing Control as I drag to make sure that it's proportionate. I move this object right so that it snaps dead on to the top left-hand corner of the rectangle. And I guess this is the most appropriate time for me to remind you to use these tools. So snap to, make sure all of these are enabled, and make sure that where it says view, that you should be able to see the dynamic guides. That will be very, very, very useful for you. Okay. Next, we're going to make a circle inside. Now, there are many ways to go about it. My favorite is just by clicking on the object, pressing Shift, taking one of the corner handles, drag inwards, and then right click, let go of all buttons. Now what I want to do is to use this circle to chop off part of the rectangle. So this is also known as trimming. So that's exactly what we're going to do. Now, in order to trim, you have to remember that in order to trim, you first select the object you're going to be using as a trimming tool, so to speak, against the second object. So I'm going to be using the circle, and I'm going to trim it off the rectangle. Click on the trim icon there, delete the outer circle, and then you have a nice effect of a circle on the top left hand side of a corner. We're now going to insert an image, and this is done very easily. Make sure that you have your images ready organized. It'll save you a great deal of time. Just press on this button here, which is connect. It's a media browser. So I need only look for Michael Jackson. Drag drop. It's a huge image of him, I know, but he was that popular. So I'm going to make the image smaller. And in order to have some sort of a uniformity on all the images of the staff members, I'm going to change them from color to gray. So bitmap mode, and I'm going to change it to a grayscale 8-bit. Now I'm going to use the PowerClip tool, and I'm going to place it inside the circle. Move it around by selecting and nudging it. He is a bit too big, so I'm just going to, you should be able to exactly see, have some sort of a distance between the neck and the lower. There we go. Okay. Dead on center. Right, and since I like to use color coding, you may want to color code the outline. So it could be turquoise kind of blue, like so. Okay, well, obviously you decide on what color you want to do, but this is basically how it's done. For this one, what I did is basically I embedded an inside rectangle like that, so you can move it around, and it makes no sense at the moment. But if this were to be in an organization chart with dozens of other pictures, it'll make sense. This one uses just the silhouette. I will show you how to do that on a later tutorial that I have planned. So hope you can subscribe so you can see how it's done. And for example, in this one I added some sort of a backing. Okay, you can again color code it, but we'll just leave it as some sort of a shade there. Okay, gives you an idea of some sort of dimension there. All right, so by all means, if you want to use any of these templates, you may do so. Okay, after you've done that, you've decided what type of template you're going to be using for each of the nameplates. All you need to do now is just distribute them, okay, according to level of importance. After that, you add color. So we're going to add some color to the organization chart, and we're going to be using something called color styles. In order to enable this Docker, what you do is you press Control F6, like so, and we'll use that in just a little while. But first you need to give these some colors. So I'm going to choose these background colors here. Just the one that's on the nameplate of the, not the picture square, but the other one, and give this an initial color. And then what I'm going to do, I'm going to select the names and give this a nice contrast. And then I'll just take off the outline. Looks nicer that way. Once you've done that, you select all of the objects. You go to color styles. You drag and you drop on the top side the colors that these objects are made of. Then what you do is you drag them down, and in order to give them a color harmony, I'm going to call this level 1, corresponding to the first level of command in the company. And the nifty thing about this is that if you move this around, you will see that it changes in color, like so. You may decide what color you want, and you can select. For example, I want these picture frames, which is this one, to be white. So you just go dead on center, like so. Ultimately, these are going to be filled up with pictures, so that doesn't really matter. And then select them all again, and then move them around. Okay, so you have a combination of colors there. You do the same thing for the next one, for the next level. Again, give it a color. It's too bright. That'll be okay. Select the names. And let's give this another color. So it's a green. You probably are much more avid in choosing most appropriate colors. To each his own. Drag, drop, drag them over here again. Level 2. And by selecting the folder here, again, you get the chance to play around with the colors. Okay. Now, one of the benefits of using color harmony is the fact that you can have, in this case, like a sort of a bird's eye view on what's going on. And if you want to make changes on numerous objects, well, you can do it on the fly without having to do it individually. The second that benefit is that you can allocate a color that it suits or contrasts against the other colors of the other objects. Okay, right. So you do the rest. You do the third and the fourth level before you move on. I just want to show you the power of the color harmony. I've got this logo here, right? You drag and drop all of them. It selects all of the colors that were used. And then look at the beauty of this. Okay. Toggle around with them. Give this sort of a copper feeling here. Or give it a nice blue combination of shades. So there, you can do that in it's a nice way of playing around with the colors. Okay, let me look at that. That looks really nice, doesn't it? Okay. So going back to the organization chart, the second thing you need to do, or the next stage is before you add the pictures. It doesn't really matter which order you do it in, but you can start working on the arrows here. Okay, so we're now going to make the lines that join each of the staff members to their subordinates. There are various ways of doing the lines. I think the best way, can be just using the freehand or freeform tool and using the dynamic guides that'll tell you when you can start and stop with the lines. So if you see this orange line here, it tells you that the middle of that line of the rectangle is here. And they just move, click, shift. Right. We're going to make another one. So make sure you click on the node. click, press Shift, and look for the center of the square. Actually, we need to make it a little longer. Actually, we need to make it something around here. This is the center of the second one. Again, from here we want the center. You look for the center point of the square and click while you shift. Now, if you zoom in, you'll notice that these two lines, although they intersect, both of their nodes intersect, you have this corner. So in order to prevent that, what you do is you click on one object and then click on the other one, press F12 and select this ending, accept, and there you have a nice right angle. Okay, here we go. I'm going to add an arrow, and I'm going to add another arrow here beneath. Press Shift, right click, and there's something quite not right. So either the arrow's not in the center. Let's see if it is. There it is. Now it's in the center. Moving this down, make another line. Press F5. Again, node, move upwards, press Shift and intersect. There you go. Now it doesn't matter that this is overlapping. Actually, if you press Shift and page down, this nameplate will just be on top, so it won't look that horrible. So I'm going to delete this. Now, if you want to use the same combination here well, we've got the same combination of arrows and we want them over here. We are missing on one line out. Okay, so it's more or less around here. Right click, let go, and then again press Shift as you drag to your right, let go. Okay, that should give you, I'm going to move these objects further to the right. Okay. Alright, so there you have it. Those are the lines that you'd probably be using. You can use your own design. You can change from dotted to lined, like so. It all depends on your personal style. And that's it. Well, actually the last part is to insert the images. So just make sure that the images are aligned. They look a little bit uniformed in some respect. The benefit of having a grayscale image, the fact that they look, I mean, none of them stands out from the rest, so it looks a little bit uniform there. And well, I hope you like this tutorial. That your end product should be like this. And again, if there are any questions, doubts, or queries, please just drop me a line. And I look forward to seeing you again on the upcoming tutorials. Bye-bye.